Welcome to this 13th and final part of the NZGOAL training sessions. In this video I'm going to talk about the transition from version 1 to version 2 of NZGOAL and outline what's changed. Version 1 of NZGOAL was released in August 2010 and has, therefore, at the time of my recording this video, been in place for a bit over 4.5 years. There were three main causes for the review, which began in 2014. The first and main cause was Creative Commons consultation on, and then release of, the Creative Commons 4.0 international licenses. It was considered desirable to assess whether NZGOAL should adopt these new licenses. The second cause was recognition that the HTML code snippets in version 1 of NZGOAL, which are used for online releases of copyright works, were out of date and non-compliant with the latest versions of HTML. They needed to be updated to ensure agencies were being given valid code snippets for their online licensing needs. The third cause was a recognition, following years of experience with NZGOAL, that it could be simplified in various ways. So what's changed? The main changes are these. First, about 20 pages have been trimmed from NZGOAL to make it a more digestible and approachable piece of guidance. For example, the summaries of the licenses have been heavily condensed, some superfluous paragraphs have been removed, and the more detailed discussion of copyright law that had been in an appendix has been removed and placed in a separate NZGOAL copyright guide. Second, NZGOAL now recommends that agencies use the Creative Commons 4.0 international licenses in preference to the 3.0 New Zealand licenses. The reasons for this recommendation are set out in a new NZGOAL Guidance Note 5, which compares the 3.0 New Zealand licenses and the 4.0 international licenses. In essence, the comparison reveals that the 4.0 international licenses are clearer or otherwise preferable to the 3.0 New Zealand licenses across a number of topics. Those topics are the clarity of the preliminary notes in the license, greater clarity in relation to adaptations and what is now called the adapters license, greater clarity on the subject of no endorsement, improvements in the approach to attribution, the enabling of more anonymity when a licensor, such as an agency, requires it, new provisions on termination and reinstatement of the licenses, and the new clause which expressly contemplates additional terms or agreements between the licensor and licensees. You can find more detail on these topics in Guidance Note 5. Version 2 of NZGOAL emphasises, and I would like to emphasise here, that there's nothing wrong with the 3.0 New Zealand licenses. They were regarded as best of breed when they were launched, and they were and still are fit for government licensing needs. Agencies are free to continue to use the 3.0 New Zealand law licenses if they wish. It's recognised, for example, that some agencies may have put licensing processes in place using the 3.0 New Zealand licenses that they may not wish to change in a hurry. Note also that NZGOAL's preference for the 4.0 international licenses does not mean that works already licensed under a 3.0 New Zealand license need to be relicensed with a 4.0 international license. There's no need for that. Turning to the third change, with assistance from the Department of Internal Affairs, the code samples for online releases of copyright works have all been updated to HTML5, and they now refer to the Creative Commons 4.0 international licenses. Fourth, the approach to moral rights has been simplified. Now you can assess whether there are moral rights issues by asking two questions. First, has an author of the work, and an author might be an employee or contractor for example, has an author of the work asserted a right to be named as author? And second, could the treatment of the work in question be considered a derogatory treatment of a work? If the answers to these questions are both no, there won't be any moral rights requirements and you can proceed to the next stage of the review and release process. If you answer yes to either question or are unsure, that would be the time to involve your legal team. Fifth, the section that describes the Creative Commons licenses has been rewritten. As I mentioned earlier, it's now easier to digest. Sixth, there is now a new no and right statement icon and snippet of HTML code that agencies can use for online releases of non-copyright material. Seventh, there's a new section that explains why NZGOAL does not endorse CC0. And eighth, following agency feedback, the previous single decision tree, which summarises and walks one through the NZGOAL review and release process for both copyright works and non-copyright material, has been separated into two decision trees. There is now one decision tree for copyright works and another for non-copyright material. That brings me to the end of these NZGOAL training sessions. I hope you found them useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with the New Zealand Open Government Data Programme Secretariat at Land Information New Zealand.